listener, please subscribe to our channel. Enjoy watching. The night was a canvas painted with the deepest shades of black, the moon hidden behind thick, foreboding clouds that seemed to swallow light whole. In the heart of the city, nestled among the sleeping buildings, was an apartment where Anna and Michael lived, a haven that was about to be breached by unseen horrors. It all began on a night that was no different from any other, with the city's heartbeat at its quietest. The couple was adrift in the sea of sleep when an intrusive ringing shattered the stillness. The digital clock on the nightstand glowed a ghastly green, displaying 2:03 a.m. as Michael's hand, guided by a mixture of irritation and confusion, reached for the vibrating phone. The screen, lit in the darkness, showed an unknown number, a string of digits that seemed to mock him with its anonymity. With a voice thick from sleep, Michael answered, "Hello." The silence that greeted him was oppressive, filled with the weight of unspoken threats. Then, breaking through the static, a whisper emerged, as soft as a secret. "You should not be alone." The words, simple yet laden with ominous intent, sent a shiver down Michael's spine. He glanced at Anna, her presence a comforting contrast to the unease that the call had sown. "Who is this?" he demanded, his voice gaining strength from his growing alarm. But the line was already dead, leaving behind a chilling void. Attempts to return the call led nowhere. The number, according to the emotionless voice on the line, did not exist. It was as if the call had come from the ether, a ghostly communication that left no trace. The next night, as if on cue, the phone rang again at 2:03 a.m. This time, Anna answered, her voice a mix of fear and defiance. The message was different, yet equally cryptic. "It watches from the shadows." The words crawled under their skin, a prophecy that seemed to watch them from every corner of their apartment. The police could offer no solace. Without evidence or a traceable number, their hands were tied. Their suggestions to change the number or ignore the calls felt like band-aids on a gaping wound. The calls became a nightly terror, each message more disturbing than the last. "Eyes without a face see everything," one said. Another night, a voice that wasn't quite human hissed, "The walls whisper your names." The couple was caught in a psychological maelstrom, each ring of the phone a herald of unseen dread. Sleep became elusive, chased away by the fear of what the night would bring. Their home, once a sanctuary, now felt like a stage for some malevolent force that delighted in their torment. The unknown caller was a specter that loomed over their lives, its motives as inscrutable as the darkness that cloaked the city at night. As the days blurred into a continuous loop of anticipation and dread, Anna and Michael found themselves questioning everything. Was this a warning? A threat? Or something far more sinister? The calls had opened a door to an abyss, and they were standing on the edge, looking into the darkness that whispered back with voices of shadows and fear. The horror had only just begun, and the calls were merely the first whisper of the nightmare that was to unfold. After the haunting calls that pierced the night, Anna and Michael tried to stitch normalcy back into their lives, a futile attempt to mend the fabric of their reality that had been so violently torn. Yet, the shadow of fear was a constant companion, its presence a cold hand on their shoulders. This dread materialized one evening under the cloak of twilight, transforming their ephemeral fears into a tangible nightmare. It was a night shrouded in mist, the kind that swallowed streets and muffled sounds, making the world outside their apartment seem alien, a realm where light struggled to penetrate the darkness. Returning from a dinner that was supposed to be an escape but felt more like a brief intermission from their ongoing ordeal, they saw it, a hooded figure standing beneath the dim glow of a streetlight. The figure was an anomaly, its stillness in stark contrast to the gentle sway of the mist. The hood obscured its face, leaving its intentions as hidden as its identity. Yet, the figure exuded an aura of malevolence that transcended the need for visual recognition. Michael and Anna felt its gaze, an invasive pressure that seemed to reach out and touch their very souls, leaving a residue of ice-cold dread. Compelled by a protective instinct, Michael advanced towards the figure, his footsteps echoing on the wet pavement, a lone beat in the silent night. But as he neared, the figure vanished, dissipating into the mist as if it were made of the same ethereal substance. The streetlight flickered once, as though signaling the end of a macabre performance, leaving behind nothing but a lingering sense of unease that clung to them like a second skin. The encounter marked a turning point. Their apartment, once a haven, now felt like a stage where unseen eyes watched from the darkness. They became prisoners of their own home, every shadow a potential hiding spot for the hooded figure, every creak a signal of its approach. Suspicions turned towards Alex, a friend whose recent odd behavior now seemed sinister under the lens of their fear. Accusations were hurled, friendships strained to the breaking point, but the truth that emerged was as clear as it was relieving. Alex was innocent, his alibi unassailable. This revelation, however, was a double-edged sword. While it cleared the fog of suspicion, it plunged them deeper into the mystery, the identity of their tormentor as elusive as ever. As the days passed, the figure became a specter that haunted not just their nights but their every thought. Discussions spiraled into theories, each more fantastical than the last, but no closer to the truth. The hooded figure, a silent harbinger of their nightmares, remained an enigma, a piece of a puzzle that refused to fit, leading them further into a labyrinth of fear and paranoia. The calls had been a prelude, but the appearance of the hooded figure was a clear escalation, a physical manifestation of the terror that had, until then, been confined to the ethereal realm of phone lines. It marked a transition from unsettling anonymity to a palpable threat, a bridge between their once peaceful existence and the nightmare their lives had become. The figure, a phantom in the mist, was both a warning and a herald, an omen of darker things to come. As they retreated back into their apartment that night, the door closing with a click that sounded like a lock sealing their fate, Anna and Michael understood that the horror was far from over. The true depth of their nightmare was yet to be revealed, and the hooded figure was merely the messenger. In the aftermath of the hooded figure's unsettling appearance, a heavy air of dread settled over Anna and Michael's apartment, transforming it from a place of refuge into a domain of unrelenting terror. The once familiar rooms now seemed to harbor shadows that danced just beyond the reach of light, whispering secrets in a language made of silence and fear. This transition marked the beginning of a series of events that defied logic, events that would test the boundaries of their reality. It started subtly, with objects appearing not where they had been left, suggesting a disturbance in the natural order of their home. A book would find its way from shelf to floor, its pages fluttering as if in the aftermath of an unseen commotion. A face, a silent witness to their growing unease, would shatter without contact, its pieces scattering like the fragments of their peace of mind. Then came the whispers, disembodied voices that slithered through the cracks in the walls, weaving between the couple as they moved through their apartment. These whispers were indecipherable, yet they carried a weight of ominous intent, a sense that they were being observed, judged by an unseen audience that took delight in their fear. One evening, as they sat in the living room trying to salvage a semblance of normalcy, a chill wind swept through the apartment. It was a wind that spoke of forgotten graves and unspoken secrets, a wind that seemed to emerge from within the walls themselves. It extinguished every light, plunging them into a darkness so complete, it felt as if the very essence of night had descended upon them. When the lights flickered back to life, a new horror awaited. On the mirror, in the condensation that the cold wind had brought, were the words, "Nowhere to hide." The message, written by an invisible hand, was a clear declaration that their sanctuary had been violated, that the entity haunting them had crossed a threshold. Driven by desperation, Anna and Michael sought to uncover the source of their torment. They delved into the history of their building, discovering narratives of tragedy that painted their home in hues of sorrow and despair. A century-old fire had claimed lives, leaving behind a residue of grief that time had failed to cleanse. Yet, even armed with this knowledge, the connection to their current plight remained elusive, the dots too scattered to form a coherent picture. In their search for answers, they turned to the realms of the supernatural. Mediums and paranormal experts crossed the threshold of their apartment, each attempting to pierce the veil that separated the known from the unknown. Rituals were performed, incantations spoken, yet the entity that haunted them remained just beyond reach, its nature a puzzle with pieces missing. The occurrences became a daily ordeal, a test of their sanity. The apartment, once a canvas for their dreams, now felt like a prison, its walls closing in with the weight of unseen eyes. The whispers grew louder, the chill more pervasive, and the sense of being watched turned into a constant companion. In the end, the phenomena that had invaded their lives began to dwindle as mysteriously as they had appeared. The whispers faded into silence, the cold receded, and the objects in their apartment ceased their inexplicable movements. Yet, the scars remained, etched into their minds and the very fabric of their home. Anna and Michael moved away, leaving behind the unanswered questions and the fear that had become a part of their existence. The apartment stood empty, a silent witness to the horrors it had contained, its secrets locked within the walls. The chapter of their lives that had been filled with unexplainable occurrences was closed, yet the book remained open, the possibility of its continuation a shadow that lingered in the background of their new beginnings. The nightmare had receded, but the echoes of those whispers, the chill of that wind, and the memory of that message on the mirror would forever be a part of their story, a testament to the horror that had unfolded within the walls of their once beloved home. If you leave a comment, tell us what you think about the story you heard. It's important to us and will help us find and tell stories that you find interesting. Thank you for watching us.